In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. It's going to be a great conversation today about how we should interact with these deep research tools like Notebook LLM and maximize the value of our time and the outputs from these tools. And I have today a guest that's been on the show before, and Jeffrey Borschowa, who is a thinker, a philosopher, and a person who is getting amazing results from all sorts of AI tools, base GPTs, and middleware alike. Jeff, thanks for joining me today.
I love it, Emmanuel, and readers be warned, I'm back from vacation, so you're getting unfiltered Jeff. I don't have my socially correct filters on yet, but that's where the best ideas live, right?
Absolutely. You know, I think that's how amazing things are created, is not by being limited, but by being free in our ability to go on an inferential walk and figure out how to use these technologies to improve our lives and the lives of the people around us.
I love it. And yes, I think you and I are going to have some fun. I'll let you lead the conversation, believe it or not. But when I hear people struggling with ChatGPT or whatever tool it is, 99% of the time they send me a copy of a conversation they've had. It's because they did it wrong. And not to be arrogant, it's just when you're watching your toddler juggling steak knives while trying to light them on fire, somebody's got to step in and say, no.
Well, that's right. And that's one of the things I love about the way your brain works, Jeff, is that you are a very sequential thinker. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about was, where do you start with the blank sheet of paper in order to conceive of doing and interacting with these deep research models?
I love it. Now, first of all, the fact that you call me a sequential thinker, it means that my filters have worked in the past. I am not. And it is fascinating because you ask anybody in my life, they'll say, Jeff's all over the place. Jeff's hard to follow. The magic, and this is where I think a lot of people don't realize this, most people go straight to the point with AI and treat it like a vending machine and say, if they had a Rose.ai, they'd go, give me some marketing stuff, Rose.ai. Right. And Rose.ai will comply and drop you some marketing stuff. Now, the problem is Rose.ai doesn't know good marketing from bad because you didn't tell it the parameters. AI is just like a good employee. You wouldn't run off and say, go file the quarterly reports. Okay, what reports? Oh, you need to know this, this, and this. So that's the biggest aha. Now, to your linear thinking, logical thinking, I use AI to refine everything so that I do sound reasonable and logical. My true gift is that I can think inside, outside, and around an issue. I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently I have what's called ambibrain. Most people are left or right dominant. My brain, whatever it calls for at the time, is what's dominant, and the other piece goes to sleep. But every now and then it'll go, hey. It's like that uncle sleeping on the couch while you're watching TV, and every now and then wakes up to chime in and then goes back to sleep. But what I've managed to do with AI is I can go wide and find 10 different topics, and then I bring it back to the narrow, and then it looks like I built it sequentially, when reality is my brain is just living, breathing chaos.
All right. Well, I love it. So then, what's the first step in this chaos for you?
All right. So I actually have a framework. And by the way, if you don't think in frameworks, I highly, highly encourage your listeners to Google it and start. Um, Basically, a lot of the great minds in history have done this. And I started studying how they think and what they do. And I thought, if it's good enough for Albert Einstein, it's good enough for Jeff. So I built frameworks, and that's the number one thing I do. And this is where you're going to see some success with Chat GPT or whatever other tool. I specifically only use Chat GPT because that's the only tool I need. Um, Now I'm on the verge of launching my own version of ChatGPT, where I am going to step outside of the wrapper that is ChatGPT, because most people don't know this, and I didn't know it until recently. OpenAI is the engine that drives ChatGPT, but most innovation is built on the OpenAI engine, not the ChatGPT middleware. So ChatGPT is just an interface that you or I can use. But what I've found that worked really well for me is I have a framework, and I'll share it here. So I always tell it first, here's what I'm working on. So I give it a little bit of background, just like it was an employee or a research assistant. And then I'll say, based on what I know, here's what I believe success looks like. So I'm setting some parameters. And a lot of people say, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. ChatGPT and I don't understand can't. We just keep coming at it till we find something. But once you've got sort of that background and the parameters, then I look at who are the categories of experts. So this is where I'm going, starting to get narrower. I'll say, who are the categories of experts that could guide this conversation? And then based on the categories, I'll ask it, give me 3 world-class experts per category. Now, I don't give a crap about what my uncle or cousin or aunt or neighbor says about a topic. I want to know, if I'm talking about gamification, who are the top 3 experts in the world? And spoiler alert, they're always the same top 3 experts. Because you don't become world class and then one day just go, I'm done. But my favorite gamification framework is, I think it's called Octalysis or something. Anyways, so I'll ask for the categories of experts, then individual experts. And then this is where we start to get really refined. We're coming down that to, we've gone from wide to narrow. I will say, based on our expert categories and experts, what are the best practices as we do this research project, for example? And it is amazing. And this is the part I think most people miss. I really want to know, just randomly, what would Einstein say about this project? So I'm going to bring in experts that are not an expert. Like Einstein, I'm pretty sure didn't know anything about AI. But if you use his thinking patterns, use his frameworks, he can bring something to a research project about AI, for example.
Sure. I love it.
So once I have that, then I have a conversation with the data. And for what it's worth, I get better results faster than the deep research model in ChatGPT because I've built my own research model. And as much as I love everything that's going on in the research space, what I find with most of the models, like things like Perplexity, you mentioned this new Storm option. I don't know what's under the hood.
Right.
I don't know where the gears are set. I don't know what the parameters are. But this is the part I think most people miss. This is not GPT do my homework, I'm going to go have a nap. It's me having a conversation with the data. And then at the very end, I ask it to quote sources. Because, and spoiler alert, if ChatGPT is going to hallucinate, it's probably here.
Okay.
The other one that fascinates me is I, for the life of me, cannot teach ChatGPT how to count. So if I need a 2,000 word, and I realize that it's it's doing the calculations on the words, it's not counting the words at the same time.
Right.
It's kind of like asking me to walk and chew gum. I'm going to trip. But basically, if I need a 2,000 word something, I'll ask it for 5,000 word, and it condenses it and gives me 2,000, and I'm happy.
Right.
But the key is I tell it to be succinct, and then I ask it to get a little bit more. So I let it do its. The other mistake people make is, okay, do the research and write the report. No. You let it do the research, and then this is where most people get it wrong. I export my research into a Google Doc, and then I'll start a brand new conversation and say, okay, based on this research, we're doing this report. Because the longer your context gets, the dumber it gets. And I call it conversation fatigue. You know, and think about it. You and I, we're going to glitch at some point. If we worked 18 hours straight, you do not want to see the work Jeff created at the 18th hour.
Right.
But basically, that's the big aha was, I call it modular research, because instead of going from, you know, first of all, I've given it the context, then I've done the research, then I've done the report, we're both exhausted.
Absolutely.
So now I've broken it up. I do all my experts. I know who my experts are. I know who my expert categories are. So I'll inject them into the conversation at that point. Now, for your audience, you're not going to know that yet. You're not going to have, you know, I doubt anybody keeps a database of their world's favorite experts and mental models and frameworks. But I plug them in as I need them now.
So I guess how does the deep research different? Is it any different in terms of prompting from just a regular conversation that you would have with ChatGPT?
Well, I think so. I'm still testing the boundaries of it, but from what I can tell, it's got a wrapper up front that sets parameters, and so it's really, really good. And again, this is all coded. It asks for clarification stuff that you might not think to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So between you and me, if you are an organized, logical thinker, deep research works really well. If you're someone like me who thinks in, you know, it's kind of like sparks in one of those cages. It's random from the outside until you look in and you see what it is. But if you think randomly like I do, ChatGPT actually works better.
Okay.
And this is going to sound really, really weird. Someday I may build a dating-like app for AI, because people come to me and they say, which AI is better? That, you know, I want this, I want that. The reality is, and this is just something I'm observing in the last couple of weeks, the personality of the people who built the AI will impact who it works for. So I don't know what it says about me, but ChatGPT and we were separated at birth. I speak it natively. And yet when I give my prompts to other people, they're like, oh, this gave me garbage.
Right.
So believe it or not, I think there's a correlation between Colby score and which AI model you prefer.
Well, now, Jeff, I love this rabbit hole because there's a lot. It's multidimensional here. Number one, this AI was created by humans for humans, so it has our intelligence and our consciousness in it, right?
Yep.
And so yeah, you've got a group of humans who created this code. It's going to reflect those humans, just like a business reflects the CEO and the upper management of it.
Yep.
So it gives me so much hope that the humans are going to continue to see their importance in the process. And I think there's the fatigue I'm getting is this a certain amount of despondency, like, oh, AI is taking over, the robots going to run the world. What are we going to do, right? And you and I are both visionary enough to say, no, this is a tool that's helping us. It's going to free us up to learn how to play the lute and clog dance, and I wouldn't have time to do that otherwise.
And that's the thing. I think there's an instrument called the theremin or something. I'd love to learn it just for the sake of learning it. And I think the mistake people are making right now is saying AI is going to take my job. Good, it can have my job. I'd love to be redundant and using this to be fed and to feed my family.
Absolutely.
And I think we're in this unprecedented era of opportunity. And what people do miss, William Shakespeare, if he was alive today, he'd be using AI. Guarantee it.
Sure.
Now, he also plagiarized. That's another conversation for another day. But the reality is, it is just a tool, and the outputs you get are determined entirely by the quality of the person that is sitting at the keyboard creating it. So,
yeah, what I love about the beginning part of your process is that you're saying, I tell it what I'm trying to accomplish, and start the conversation from there, versus jumping to the end and say, help me do this thing, and here's how you're going to do it.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's not a vending machine. It is a sous chef. It wants to ask, it needs inputs. What do you like to eat? What do you don't like to eat? What are you allergic to? You do that when you go to a restaurant to order lunch. Yet when we sit down at the keyboard, we want an easy button that, write in the style of Abraham Lincoln and help me free the slaves. Like, let's back up a little and start with write me a speech.
That's right. Or even better yet, upload a video of you giving a speech and then ask it to write you a speech, right?
Yeah. And, honestly, that's where we are the ingredient. Like, everybody wants to replace us, but I see us as super powered, super enhanced human beings. I'm calling it augmented intelligence because it's not replacing me. It's helping me get out of the shit I wasn't meant to do in the first place. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's true. And we had entered a kind of a factory period of computing.
Yeah.
And now we have the ability to write automations and build middleware and use AI to free us from the factory work that we really don't need to do anymore.
Yeah. And honestly, my hope for the future, so I believe humans that haven't worked on themselves, we cause damage to other humans. I would love to live in an era, a second age of enlightenment, where we can all sit around and do meditation and breath work and, go work out and take care, like, we will become more social when we're not worried about, did I complete that work checklist that nobody gives a shit about?
Yeah. No, that's you and I are aligned in that. I'm saying this is the second renaissance, and learn how to oil paint, learn how to write poetry, learn how to play instruments, and spend time with your friends and family.
So, absolutely. And you know what? Nobody likes research. There's like a sliver of society. I happen to be one of those. So, but I still don't like grinding research. I don't miss the days where I had to go to the library and those little cards, and I hated that. Now it's like I got, my favorite thing, I like to access the Gutenberg project with ChatGPT, and I've got the wisdom of the ages at my keyboard.
Yeah, no, it's we live in a time now where information and philosophy and all the great thinking in the world is available to us at a keystroke.
Yep.
Well, Jeff, I really appreciate every minute I get to talk to you, and you always have something new and something innovative, and in this case, fundamental. And I appreciate you spending some time to go back to the beginning with me.
Yeah. And honestly, I think we all need to recognize, and I want people to know this, AI is just communication. Literally, LLM, large language model. If you get good at communication and you're curious, you're golden. Those are the two must-have ingredients. If you're not curious, go away, go do something else, because AI is going to eat your lunch, I promise.
And I will add to that, learn how to be a good instructor, because everybody who's not on this part of the bubble is going to need to be brought along, and there'll be a great need for good patient instructors. Yeah. Well, Jeff, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Absolutely best way to do it is on my LinkedIn. That's where I am all the time. I have a website, but honestly, it's garbage because it's always a week behind. So LinkedIn is where I'm at today. If you want to see where I used to be, ferrosbusiness.com. But
all right, and we'll have links in the show notes.
Yeah,
and we'll appreciate it. Well, Jeff, I know you're fresh back from vacation. I hope you have a very productive week, and I'm excited to see what's next for you.
Awesome. Well, as always, Emmanuel, great. And what better way to start my week back than to talk to you? So thank you.
I appreciate that very much. Have a good one. Well, it's very amazing to hear how Jeff's ambi brain works, and that he can respond to things as they come up, which is an amazing tool. For the rest of us, we are in good shape to interact with the LLMs with a clear statement of what we are looking to accomplish, and then having a conversation from there and bringing in other resources, great thinkers, subject matter experts, and then taking time to summarize those first responses into a doc, and then bringing that doc back in order to create an action plan from that conversation. I hope the talk today has brought you value. I hope that you spend some time today looking at how an AI tool or an AI process can buy some time of yours back, and that you use that time to spend with your friends and your family, or to get outside in nature and spend some time alone. It's Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.